God is good forever and ever. Good morning and welcome to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. I am your host, Yaira Awuno. We're coming to you live from the studios of Clog TV. You can also catch us on GoTV channel 184. Don't forget, we are streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube. So you can just look for Clog TV on any of these social media platforms and join in the conversation. Send your comments, send your suggestions, your shout outs, your questions to our live stream, and of course on our WhatsApp number that's displayed on your screen. Here on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, we bring to you the most informative, educative, and entertaining segments like business, lifestyle, entertainment, sports, in-depth discussions, motivational quotes to give you a well-rounded experience and set the tone for your day. Today, the lifestyle segment will be talking about the essence of childhood vaccination, while the main segment will be talking about medical negligence and infant mortality. The business segment will be bringing you news from the business world, everything about the stock market. So just stay tuned and learn today on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Now let's have our motivational quote of the day. For the motivational quote of the day, two of my co-hosts will be joining me here in the studio to also share their thoughts on the quote. And they are in the persons of course, you know them, Miriam Abnadidi and Clement Yabankwe. So we'll be hearing their thoughts on the motivational quote shortly. So let us have the motivational quote previewed for us. Today's quote says, "Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value." And this is by Albert Einstein, and he was a very well-noted scientist in the world. Even today, his work continues to be spoken about. His work has impacted a lot of science here in our lives. Now, this quote, the way I understand it, talks about the fact that wherever you find yourself, make sure to be a person of value. Make sure that you learn the skills needed or the skills appropriate for wherever you find yourself, so that you can be of value, you can impact people's lives aside being a success as well. This way you are indispensable. So when you are at a job and you have no qualifications there, you can just try to take on certain courses or skills to learn, to be of value there, so that people there at the workplace will not see you as redundant. Let us hear what Mimi and Clement have to say. Hello.
Hello, Yaira.
Hi. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning. Today I really representing Africa, like the culture of Africa, and you're nice.
I try my best.
It's nice.
Thank you.
It's nice.
Who made this for you, actually?
So this is by Modish Clothing in Adenta, and they put this together for me.
Exactly.
Okay. I've been a force of my media always, so I don't want to talk about that.
So linking it to today's quote, I have to say that he really added value to your personality, because
Exactly.
today you are just standing out.
Exactly.
Thank you, thank you.
But I mean, the quote is, let me say, something that we all need in our lives today, especially with the kind of jurisdiction or dispensation we find ourselves in. So basically, I will also say that it is suggesting that achieving or striving to be successful or have a long-term success does not come with, getting praises and accolades to yourself as an individual, but trying to make sure that your value is appreciated. You are in a society or a community where you are very needed, right? And I would always cite our very own Kwame Nkrumah as an example of this quote. He really embodied himself in this quote, in the sense that he was for the unification and liberation of Africa, and also the development of Ghana, his country. And we all know how selfless he was as a leader when he was, striving for that. And so I think the quote is a good quote that everyone watching us today should take something from it, that wherever you find yourself, it is all about adding value to yourself, so that your presence will be felt.
Be felt.
Right.
That's true. Okay, so just to add a little to what you said, Jim Rohn once said that we are being paid for how valuable we are, not because of the kind of work we do. Because if organization sees how valuable you are, even if you write a letter you want to resign, they will still insist that stay. It's because of how valuable you are. It's because you've added much value to your life. So as you said, viewers should actually add more value to their life. It doesn't matter where you find yourself. I believe that life is all about living for others. That is my philosophy.
Yeah.
Life is all about living for others, because these quotes also make us understand that success or being successful is not only about you accumulating financial assets or you accumulating assets to yourself, but rather how impactful you will be to the society, how impactful you are going to be to the person sitting close to you, your family and stuff. People get to an extent in life and they neglect people who really push them. So this quote this morning is telling us that no, don't do that. If you want people to call you as a successful person, then try to make impact. That is all what I just want to say.
And it's all about finding gaps, you know, at wherever you find yourself. That is also one way you can add value to yourself.
I was also going to say that whenever you find yourself in a company, wherever you find yourself, whatever is there that you think you can improve upon, whatever systems are in that jurisdiction or that place you find yourself, try your best to do the improvement so that you'll be seen as valuable. Just like we have our governments changing and everything, each government comes and tries to improve upon what the other has built, and then also they add value to themselves, making themselves valuable. So sometimes we have certain regimes being compared to the other, this did more, this did less, and things like that, because of how much value they added to the country. And this is all we have. Okay, yes, Clement has one more.
Yes, I have one last thing to say. You see, you made mention of the government adding value to other people. That is very true. But this time around, we get to understand that we citizens, we should equally add value. Youths coming up, let's add value. When you realize that your community there is a gap, try to organize yourself and fill that gap. Don't wait for a leader to come before you do. This is how impactful we can be. When you go to where I come from, we have a youth group. We realize that there's a gap in education. We are trying to fill that gap. A gap in women empowerment. You are trying to fill that gap. So we want to encourage viewers and those watching us that organize yourself in any small way you can and just make impacts.
Thank you so much. And this is all we have for you on the motivational quote of the day. As you go through your day, we hope that you meditate upon this quote. As you've heard our takes on it, of course, you also have your takes. Use it to improve upon your life, share with somebody, and add value to yourself and to somebody in your life today. Up next is our online and newspaper review with these same co-hosts. We will be right back.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy. Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
Yeah, welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, and we're about to have our online and newspaper review. But before we start, we have a comment here on our motivational quote from Agudie Films, and he says, "Good morning, Cocoa Digest. Honestly, I love the quote and your presentation. Keep up the good work." Thank you very much. We are glad you like it. Thank you also for your comment. So yes, the online and newspaper review, of course, is with two of my co-hosts in the persons of Miss Miriam Obnadidi and Mr. Clement Yabankwe. Let us get acquainted. Hello again.
Hello, Era.
Honestly, I should stop. Honestly, you should stop. Yes. Hi, how are we doing again?
Oh, by
God's
grace.
grace.
Yes. Yes. So, since we keep on adding value to ourselves, we get it. We are making impact. So
That's
we are doing
nice.
well.
That's nice. So yes, trending news officers. What's trending?
Yara, I have two news here. One is good news.
Okay.
One is quite. But let's first take in let me give the good news first. It's now CAF has approved the Accra Sports Stadium.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that we can use for the AFCON qualify.
Okay.
And that's what we'll be playing Ghana versus Sudan. So that's a good news to Ghanaians. We are not going to travel outside Ghana to play our AFCON qualifiers. We hope that the Cape Coast Onto will be approved by CAF, because I think they would also be doing inspection on that one too. And away from sports, Mimi, I don't know if you heard a story about 2 days ago that the secretary to the president, the executive secretary at the presidency, there was a lot of rumors that he had stroke outside the country when the president went for the 79th United Nations meeting. So there is official statement from the office of the president, and they said that yes, and he had a slight issue with the health, but quickly he was rushed to the hospital and currently is receiving treatment. So from the office of the president, they said he is in a stable condition of responding well to treatment. That is Nana Asante Bedietu. Yes, Nana Bedietu Asante. Yes, he's the person.
The interesting thing about this story is yesterday I saw it on X, and then I decided to read some of the comments, and people were actually happy. They were happy that...
Me, what I saw was that they said he went through 10 hours of surgery or something.
Yeah, so the statement said it's a rumor. To them, he said he's well.
Somewhere like, God, please finish what you've started.
Oh my goodness, that is not funny.
We pray that God save him and he respond to treatment as soon as possible. And he comes back to the office of the president.
Let the will of God be done.
Yes, yes.
And coming from Clement, I believe strongly that God will, work on it speedily.
Speedily.
He answers our prayers speedily. But sometimes God is being selective as to whose prayer he should answer and whose he should not.
Well, God.
I also have 2 stories. One has to do with organized labor's decision to extend their strike action. So yesterday, or is it Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday.
It came out that they have decided to embark on their strike on 10th October instead of the 1st October that was proposed initially. And this has also brought some, concerns, controversies on social media as to why are they not taking the step immediately if truly they meant what they said. Why are they extending it again? And that's organized labor. They are not showing any seriousness about this. It is just, something they are saying. They keep giving governments, the luxury of time to misbehave, quote or unquote. Yes. So if you've said you are embarking on a strike on this particular day, it should be because you don't have any reason, because government did not say anything about your proposal. So this should have been like something they should have just started. But others were also on the view that organized labor, we can all say that they constitute a major, you know, percentage of the working force in this country, including our health sectors. So assuming that they should embark on this strike now, what is going to be the state of, you know, people with health implications?
But on one hand, that is the essence of the strike.
I understand.
If the workforce decides to put their foot down to get their grievances heard, to let you also know that we are having problems, and in our problems, if we decide not to work anymore, you are also not going to be able to function, and it is going to affect a whole lot of people. Then the government would also take action. You see, so as much as it may affect people, that's one side of it too. So when they realize that people's health is in jeopardy, then they would also take some action. Just like the other time we were talking about the lecturers and then the students. If the government cares about the students' welfare, then they would listen to the lecturers and, you know, find a way to mitigate the issue.
Is striking the only option?
Yeah, Mimi.
It seems as though
because this organized labor, they are made up of about 9 unions.
So you see, striking is not the only option, but organized labor give a clear notice to government way ahead of time. It was early September, and they issued a statement that if government does not take steps in solving this Galamsey issue, they are going to embark on strike. So it's not today. So if government has been quiet on this issue, and organized labor says they're embarking on strike, yes, they should. They should do it.
So why didn't they embark on the strike?
So maybe there were certain conversations being had, and maybe trying to arrange and, you know, what's the word? Assemble more people. If it's going to be a nationwide
it's actually
issue,
a nationwide strike.
So all the regions, all the districts and things like that need to be properly assembled together, you know, uniform here. So maybe something like that.
I'm still of the view that they should be considerate, because we shouldn't say because of Galamsey. Okay, let me put it this way. We are looking at the effects, the long-term effects of Galamsey to take an action now, which is likely going to affect people now, today. The decision we are taking on Galamsey is because our future is going to be
it's not our future.
Even our future.
It's our today. Our today.
I understand.
Which is an issue.
And I'm also putting myself in the shoes of those that are sick, those that will need, you know.
Mimi.
So that is why the onus lies on the leaders in whose hands our well-being has been put. If you care about people in the hospitals, if you care about the lives of the communities affected by Galamsey, you will take some action.
And notwithstanding, health workers are part of organized labor.
Exactly.
All these people forms the organized labor we are talking about. So they know what we are talking about. And they've even issued a statement way ahead of time, telling government that this is the issue, do something about it. But government seems to be silent.
And as the government is quiet, I like the fact that people from various agencies and institutions are starting to speak up about it. Various unions are also starting to come up, you know, because in those communities, they are already having the birth defects and the health issues. How long till it's a nationwide, or even our neighboring countries start, you know, facing these problems?
Okay, Yaira, let me put it this way so that we end this conversation. We are seeing the effects of Galamsey now.
Yes.
We are having birth, you know, defects and the rest. Okay, let's say I give birth to a child who is deficient of something that needs immediate treatment right away. So because we are striking, what's going to happen to that child at the moment?
So we are striking to put an end to the cause. Yes,
but
because
we are
if you don't,
experiencing the effects now, right?
Okay,
but
so there's usually in the civil service, from what I've heard, when there is a strike, they leave what they call skeleton, you know, something called skeleton, I think skeleton staff. So there are a few people that will remain essential to do one of two things that...
Can I come in?
Yes, please.
I come in, there's nothing like skeleton staff. Everyone should go. Everyone, because for government to see how serious the issue is, we are talking about what people don't see. I don't really want to say much, because people up there don't drink the waters we are talking about. They've not seen the waters we are talking about.
These
but if you take in
for irrigation.
Yes, but if you take in the waters we are talking about, you would understand us. You would understand the pain. You understand. You can afford the bottled water. Yes, you can afford importing waters to your various houses. But what about an ordinary Ghanaian? This is what organized labor is doing, and that's what organized labor stands for. Yesterday, I learned there was supposed to be a meeting between that is National Labour Commission. We hope to see the outcome. I know there will be negotiation meetings trying to stop. What we are looking for is a solution. So if they give a solution, we are okay.
So moving forward, I also have a little bit of trending news. So first, we have October as the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So of course, on Cocoa Digest, we'll be bringing you detailed information to educate you on breast cancer.
And we are wrapping also that with our lips, as you can see.
Yes, it's Pink October, so we'll do our best to always wrap in something pink.
Yaira,
then
I'm in pink.
Yes,
you see, I'm the only person. Yes, I'm repping the month. Yes, you can see.
And his shirt. Yes.
So I care about our women. Yes.
And then also, it is also Sickle Cell Awareness Month, so I'm sure we will be able to bring you information on sickle cell as well. And then the last awareness I remember is also cybersecurity awareness. So we will be bringing you conversations on cybersecurity, sickle cell, and of course, breast cancer.
Yaira, let me add one thing, because it's all health related. We also have the measles, rubella, and vitamin A supplementation campaign happening. It is 5 days, and so it started I think yesterday. So if you have a child less than 5 years, you need to make sure that they are vaccinated and also given the supplements, vitamin A supplements.
Okay. So then the other trending news I have is that there is a protest going on today, starting today. So you can find the details on social media. I will not use all the time to educate us. So let's go quickly into our news review. What do you guys have for us? Digital newspaper people.
Okay.
Yes. So I might have the graphic business.
Okay.
And page 2 of the graphic business says 400 million United States dollars manganese refinery projects next month. So government is embarking on a project that is refining manganese. That's with an amount of 450 million United States dollars.
Wow.
And they are projecting that this project would create employment for about 1,000 people. 1,000 people. And it's going to be in different phases. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Okay. And the first phase, that's an amount is... The amount involved in the first phase is 240 million United States dollars. Okay. And the phase 2 and 3 accumulate together to be 450 million United States dollars. But one interesting thing is they are doing all this because they want to increase the power plants for gas so that they can use in the refinery of manganese in Ghana. So that is basically what the project is all about. Because they've realized that, yes, it's high time we have to refine our own raw materials and the minerals we get from the country. So I think that's the reason for this very initiative.
Are these minerals, refinery, galamsey, are they not linked?
So you see, this morning we said adding value. So government wants to add value to our minerals.
Okay,
that was a good one.
Very good one. Yes,
I also have with me the daily graphic, today's daily graphic, and on the front page we have tertiary programs at unaccredited centers to be revoked, GTEC. We also have measles, rubella vaccination underway, just like what I said, and we have expedite hearing on galamsey cases, Attorney General to judges. And that is our story for this morning. Now, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Godfred Yeboah-Dame, has called on the Chief Justice to direct all judges hearing galamsey cases to conclude them within 1 month. He said that will go a long way towards delivering justice for the heinous harm caused to the people by the devastating act. Mr. Dame was speaking at the annual general meeting of the Association of Magistrates and Judges Ghana in Accra yesterday on the theme improving the security and welfare of the people of the judiciary for effective justice delivery. Now, the Attorney General said the trial of illegal mining cases was one of the categories of cases that progressed at a slow pace as illegal mining continued to cause incalculable damage to the country's forest reserves and rivers. Given further details, Mr. Dami said currently more than 140 cases of illegal mining involving over 850 accused persons were pending in courts in the Western, Eastern Ashanti, Greater Accra, and also the Upper East region. Upper East, oh, okay. Right. So on the issue of protesters, the Attorney General said the states would prosecute acts of protesters which threatened essential services, infringed on the rights to free movement, or attacked the safety of security forces this election year. He explained that such acts could endanger the entire society as they had the tendency to destroy the peace of the nation. And on the issue of delay in cases, the Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Saki, said in some instances the delays in the adjudication of the cases were caused by prosecutors. She, however, implored that judges do away with the model of fixing cases for mention completely. So they are all in support of the speed up of,
The cases.
the cases, yeah. So basically, that is what the story is telling us this morning.
Okay. So this Galamsey conversation, it's everywhere now. And
it's everywhere.
I'm just hoping that this will, be taken and acted up.
It will be taken serious, and then also something good can come out of it, I hope. So here on the online news, it's talking about the protest I mentioned. So a 3-day protest to demand release of anti-Galamsey protesters set for Thursday. That's today. So let me just read the story. So a 3-day demonstration is planned in Accra from October 3 to 5, starting from Legon Okponglo and ending at the Black Star Square. The protesters are demanding the release of 53 anti-Galamsey activists who were arrested and detained by the police a week ago. Now, these activists were initially protesting against Galamsey or the illegal mining in Ghana, and the upcoming demonstration aims to pressure authorities to release those detained. The event, organized under the slogans Free the Citizens and Say No to Galamsey, also seeks to denounce Galamsey or illegal mining, which has been a long-standing environmental and social issue in Ghana. So, with this protest, the detainees a lot of them were apparently unlawfully detained, and it has caused some sort of fury among the youth, because these people are here protesting, rights for the people, our social and, environmental issues here. And then the police, because I think there were even, allegations that there were some people that were just bystanders that had been just added to the people there. And, there are also allegations by the police that, some vandalism was also going on in things, but 53 people.
So this story, I also followed up and I was interested in some of the charges that were leveled against them. And they included conspiracy to commit crime, unlawful assembly, damage of public properties, assault on security personnel, among other charges. These are some of the reasons why we have these detainees in the police custody. But the police also yesterday released a press statement on the planned demonstration in Accra, which is set to happen today. And my interest was on the third paragraph, which says, during police engagements with organizers, the police reminded organizers of their responsibilities under the Public Order Act, which includes being held liable for any damage caused to any public property during the demonstration. Any person taking part in the demonstration shall obey the directions of the police, safeguarding the proper movement of other persons and vehicles. So basically, the people are supposed to obey the instructions of the police. And I know this issue has gone a long way to heighten emotions in Ghanaians, especially knowing the number of people that have been detained. But the other time I raised the concern here that we all know how people act when they see the masses, when they are in groups. There's always this kind of, nobody can do anything to me, I can do whatever I want, right? And we saw a video online, social media, of a young man who went to take the key of a police vehicle and threw it somewhere and was running. I mean...
So apparently it was in response to something similar that had been done to him.
But that was done before these whole issues started.
Yes, but I think his reason for doing the same was that his car had also been seized or towed.
It was a towing car.
And then also, you see, the thing too is that one of the things that causes these protesters to also get angry is the fact that some of them were not necessarily doing anything wrong. The police just come and, because we hear of, if you go online, you see a lot of the people, they are just protesting, and then it's like some sort of show of force of power or something, cause I say trying to let you know that hey, we are operating order from above. So it gets that sort of anger.
But I don't also think physically retaliating is the way to go, because these are people that have been given the power to, safeguard the whole process. Yes. So even if they go, the extreme of making you uncomfortable, I don't think as
but
a
here is the
citizen,
case, it is supposed to be a peaceful protest.
Yes,
you are there to enforce law, make sure.
Because I don't think the police will just get up and
brutalizing people.
So they just started brutalizing them.
Yes, because what could be the possible excuse of arresting the 60-year-old lady and her 10-year-old niece or granddaughter she was holding? What is the possible excuse? What could this 60-year-old probable pensioner have done? Did she break anybody's rules? These are some of the questions we should ask.
Yes, these are some of the questions. But it's quite, should I say, uncertain. Let me use the word uncertain, because it's like we are only looking at the statements released by the Ghana police. And everybody is speaking to the statements released by the Ghana police. But I'm yet to see the statements Democracy Hub also released.
I think they also did release
one statement. Because everybody is listening to what the Ghana police saying that the protester did this, the protester did that. Yes. So everybody sees the protesters as the wrong people here.
I have the release by the Free the Citizen statement. So it's about, updates on the meeting with the Accra Regional Police Command to discuss routes for the protest march for October 3rd to October 5th. Okay, so it's displayed on our screens. And so for day one, let me just read the activities quickly. So day one says they are submitting a petition to the Office of the Attorney General to demand the release of our brothers and sisters remanded in police custody. Day two is to submit a petition to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources to put an end to the Galamsey menace that is destroying our water bodies and our lives. Then day three is to submit a petition to the Parliament of Ghana demanding that they pass a bill to put a ban on illegal mining practice and all other related issues. So there are also posts and, some animated images about the protest that if you want to join the protest, there are a few things you should take note and do, protect yourself. So come with your friends and stay together. Do not leave the crowd. I'm only reading this because we do have a right to protest, but we can protest in the right way.
In the right way.
We can protest in the appropriate way, get our voices heard without any violence and any infringement on rights and anything like that. So you can watch out for the police squad cars, charge all your mobile devices, have an emergency plan if you are not heard from by a specific time, write emergency numbers on your skin with a marker, and don't instigate. So beware of people encouraging property destruction. It can be a setup. So like you said, so certain people could also join the protest where they are coming to instigate people too. So be very careful of people like that and avoid them. You are here to protest, to get your grievances. No, you're not here to destroy any government's property. Then do not do anything you are uncomfortable with, and then remain anonymous. Do not follow a dress code. Don't wear plain clothes. Cover up any identifiable features or tattoos or hairstyles or anything like that. And then, yes, come with your friends. Coordinate with off-site friends. Have an emergency plan if you are not heard from. Write any necessary phone numbers that you may need on your skin. You know, beware of folks trying to get you just like that. Make sure all your, yes, so it's basically the same old things. Make sure you are in contact with anybody that's not on the protest grounds there. Make sure your friends and family, your loved ones know your whereabouts. If there's anything happening, to give them updates so that if you are unlawfully detained or arrested, they can find you. Please, so make sure also, yes, so about tear gas, make sure to avoid the use of oils and lotions because they can trap the chemicals, thereby prolonging your exposure. Gas masks provide the best facial protection if properly fitted and sealed. Alternatives, goggles, respirators, or a wet bandana over your nose and mouth will help you. Stay calm. Panicking increases the irritation. Breathe slowly and remember it is only temporary. Blow your nose, rinse your mouth, cough and spit, and try not to swallow. Wearing contacts, you must remove your contact lenses and get someone to remove them for you with clean, uncontaminated fingers. Destroy the lenses after exposure. And don't rub your eye in. Use an eye flush, like maybe some water, you know, half liquid antacid or half water. And then this only applies to the aluminum hydroxide or magnesium hydroxide. If you get tear gassed, when you get home, put the contaminated clothes in a plastic bag for later decontamination and shower with cold water and avoid opening your pores. So please take note of this when you go out there to protest. Please be mindful of your environment, be mindful of the people around you, protect yourself and be calm, stay calm, do not be instigated. So let me take a few comments from our viewers and then we can proceed to the next story. So this D&J Ventures says, the best morning show program. Good morning. Thank you so much for your comments. Then Ghana Tertiary Excellence Awards also says, good morning Clock TV. Good morning to you too. And then Rose Entertainment says, good morning Yaira and your team. I am Charles, watching live from Dubai. Good morning to you all the way from Dubai. Then Stage Africa says, organized labor should not let our veto power become a political game. How do you measure the government's fight against Galamsey? Then D&J Ventures also says, it should start tomorrow. Why over a week now? From their utterances and demeanors, the political will isn't there. Show them the power belongs to the masses. Then Rose Entertainment again says, it is our fight against Galamsey that takes this twist. We will lose it as there would be an artificial stoppage and the aftermath will be more tsunamis than disaster. Hey, lawful. Thank you for your comments. TA says, good morning Clock TV. This is great. I believe the time allowed is to give the government some time to think over their action. Now they know that what will happen if no action is taken. It's not for the love of strikes, for the greater good. Thank you for your comment. Then we have a Goodyear Film Production. He says, we don't have water to be drinking. We won't have water to be drinking in the next years because of greed and power. And some, hey, keep your comments demure. Keep it decorous for me. Be mindful for me. Thank you. So some people in quotes will still be defending this nonsense of Galamsey. Hey. And then we have, what is it? Yes. Akman TV also says, good morning, team. Good morning to you too. And, okay, it's the same. Okay. Then we also have shout outs to Banti B based in the UK. Thank you for joining us here on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Thank you so much for your comments. We really appreciate your insights given. So quickly,
yes. Before you go to the second story, I just want to say something. You see, they said the Free the Citizen demonstration or No Galamsey demonstration.
Yes.
They are first going to petition the Attorney General,
yes,
the minerals, that's land. I want to speak to the matter of Attorney General. I think petition them for them to look into the matter of the people who have been detained, right? Yes, but Attorney General, as of 2nd October, released a statement. And he said that for him, he's there to support anything relating to demonstration. But when you go against the law or the peace of the country, the law will deal with you. He cites a situation that happened in other countries. Let me quickly just read. He said, according to him, on 18th July 2024 in United Kingdom, 5 people, they embarked on a strike known as Just Stop Oil. Just Stop Oil, just fighting, or they're protesting against climate hazard of oil trade in the UK. And when they realized that they had some public causing some kind of chaotic scene. And after investigation, these people were sentenced, the leader was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment, whilst the other 4 received 4 years sentence, also in prison. So he was citing an example that in as much as we have the right to demonstrate, we should do it peacefully, without causing any damage to any other property of the state. Because when you do that, you will face the law. That is what he said. He also cited an example that a 32-year-old woman was also sentenced to 20 months of imprisonment. For his action was that there was a burning refuse, he just pushed it to the police. That was his offense. So as you said, those going out to protest, they should do it in the right order.
And even with the citizens that have been detained, it's basically their word against the police. And in the system we are in, the police is more likely believable, but then also there are videos. And I would like to appeal to the protesters, the leaders of these, organizations, to sort of have a database, whether it's names and photos of your members or the people coming to protest along with you, so that if there is video evidence of some instigator, because there will be people that will be sent to come and do the work of the enemy, so that when there's a video of a particular person doing something bad, the database can be checked. Is he a part of us? Is she a part of us? If not, let that person be prosecuted, because we cannot have innocent citizens remanded, detained, and because it is by somebody else's actions, it is unfair to them, because they are here to protest for better conditions of life here, standard of living, and then some crony or crook that has been sent to come and do something bad does it, and then the innocent have to pay for it. So if Democracy Hub, Free the Citizens, Say No to Galamsey organizations can look into this and do something to safeguard their well-being, it will go a long way for all of us. So yes, let's go quickly to the last story, and this one is talking about abandoned patient at Ojobi. The health ministry refers to alleged medical misconduct to CID, and this actually speaks to the topic we'll be talking about later in the show on the main discussion, which is medical negligence in infant mortality. So we will touch on that a little. So the Ministry of Health is taking serious action against the Trauma and Specialist Hospital in Winneba Central Region due to the alleged medical misconduct. After investigating, the Ghana Health Service found that the hospital officials made grave mistakes leading to a patient's death. Now, the patient was transferred to Ojobi and shockingly abandoned, resulting in their demise. So I think there's even an image of somebody in the bush, covered in some sheets and things like that. In a statement issued by the Health Ministry on Wednesday, October 2, the Ghana Health Service investigation concluded that the employees have failed to act appropriately, and that has contributed to the tragic outcome. Okay, so that's the image of the patient. Now, the committee overseeing the inquiry recommended internal disciplinary actions against the staff involved. However, the Ministry of Health has opted for further investigations, citing the gravity of the incident and the resulting loss of life. To ensure thorough accountability, the ministry has requested the Attorney General's assistance in determining the culpability of the staff in pursuing any further legal action. And additionally, the matter has been reported to the CID for criminal investigation. The ministry reaffirmed its commitment to upholding the highest standards of healthcare delivery, promising to prevent the reoccurrence of such tragic incidents in the future. I really hope the family of this deceased person would watch the main discussion so that they can learn what to do about suing that medical facility and getting some, you know, recompense or something.
Yaira,
Yes.
this issue happened somewhere in June, right? 10th June. And we are in October.
Yes.
I'm still wondering why it took
now?
the
So
Ministry
long.
of Health so long to, you know, embark on this story, because it was very disheartening. I mean, as Antofo Assembly say, Assembly ba ye can hona, and yes, it will die of.
Prakonam ye dino shoso like shoso.
You see, so I think moving forward, they need to, you know, act immediately on issues like this, especially when it has to do with the health of individuals.
Yes.
I think with the whole digitalization thing, if they can sort of centralize the systems, you know, the computerized systems, when certain things like this happen, it should quickly reach whether it's the health service or the Ministry of Health, so that action could easily be taken. Because where the name of this place, Ojobi, today is my first time I'm hearing of it, and that would go to tell you that it took probably a while before the story reached, you know, the top officials.
But it was everywhere. I mean,
Yeah, I'm talking about from the hospital, you know, one
yeah.
medical facility to the other, you know,
Yeah.
they are.
So let's
Yes.
assume we happen to be at the hospital and this issue happened. Do you think that as a staff of the hospital, I'll go and report to Ghana Health Service? I won't do that. Because when you look at the story, it said it's due to their own actions. That is why this issue has resulted. But let me just touch on something small, since the lawyer will be here to delve into the main legality of it. But as we said, we have legal framework in Ghana, which need to look into matters like this. As a professional body like the health sector, you don't joke with things like this, because you have bodies that you belong to, of which we have the Medical and Dental Council of Ghana. And I know that when they get to know this issue, they are going to take your licenses from you.
of course.
And you will not be able to work in Ghana again. So why would you even risk your life and do that? Notwithstanding, we don't know the situation that surrounds what really happened. But no matter what the issue was, there's someone's life at stake.
I strongly believe we should name and shame these institutions.
Yeah,
like
so
this,
so
so that it will serve as a deterrence.
yes, and this is criminality. Like it's yes, because in the law we said this will fall under manslaughter because it's intentional. Why will you do that?
And that underscores the concerns about patient care in this country.
And even it goes all the way back to the education system. When you don't really pass to go to your mainstream educational field, then you are forced into nursing. And the healthcare facility or the healthcare sector is something that should be a passion. It shouldn't be their shelf. Because a lot of these people do not want to be there.
I have had my personal experience with nurses, and I'm yet to meet
a nurse who actually loves the job.
I am yet to meet
I have one. She loves the job.
But how many you are lucky to have? How many health professionals?
My mom was admitted, and the experience was so bad. Was so in a very renowned hospital in this Ghana. It was so bad.
So
and I kept asking myself, where did they pass before, getting here?
Maybe sometimes it's human character.
But
sometimes it's their character.
For you to decide that you want to be holding human life, then it means that you have a certain amount of love for the people.
They lack that.
They lack that because they've just, when we were all growing up, my child would be a doctor, my child. And a lot of people's parents actually force them into the medical field. And then they are doing it, they are frustrated, it is very difficult. That side is very difficult. I have friends in medical school. They always complain about the fact that they always have exams and things like that. So if it is not something that truly you want to do, these are some of the results that will come.
Yaira, so are you going to say because of that, people should die?
No, that's my concern.
That's what I'm saying.
You need to learn along.
Yes.
This is where I find myself. There is nothing I can do about it. Let me fit in the position.
And that's why I'm saying that people should not be forced into fields they don't want to go to.
We forced you.
Enter into fields of your interest so that you don't go and kill somebody out of your frustration.
That is the kind of system we have in the country. Parents
not,
decide for their kids here and there.
Notwithstanding, I think this morning quote, it's for the right time. You see, all discussions add to adding value to yourself. So even if you've been forced to be a medical doctor, that's we said that's where you find yourself. Add value to it.
Yes.
Add value to yourself.
Let people know you for, hey, Dr. Wade, he smiles. Dr. Wade, or Donipa, like Donipa. That's if they are tagged as.
Speak to the nurses too.
Oh, it is so bad. It is so bad.
Oh, but not all. As I said, not all. We have good ones. I know a couple of good ones. yes.
So
I
as
know.
the health ministry has also sent this issue to the CID, we hope that there will be some punitive measures put in place, like these officials that, you know, conducted this and put somebody's life, basically ended somebody's life.
So someone was like, he's going to test them today. So he'll go to the hospital and pretend to be sick and see. He's actually going to video it, like the kind of...
then he'll die.
So we have one last comment here. This is for our protesters. And it says, good morning, Yaira. In fact, ask, how can you demonstrate to save people at the same time blocking a life-saving facility like the 37 Hospital Road? That leads to the hospital by playing football on the road. We should be responsible demonstrators. That's the part I love about this comment. Let's be responsible demonstrators, not warlords. This is, I'm watching live from Teshi. Good morning. This is Sophie Kingsford. Thank you for your comment. So yes, to our protesters, let's be responsible protesters. Let's find decorous ways to still get our grievances heard. So yes. Any more comments on any of the stories we've read before we wrap up quickly?
Oh, Yara, there's no comment, but I would say, yes, they should free their citizens and they should look into the matter. And Ghana police, please, we beg you, they should do something about it and free them. Yes, and also, last now says, say no. I will personally, I say no to Galamsey.
Yes.
Okay. I will also add, you know, to advise our demonstrators, just as you said, they should be responsible demonstrators and they should respect the police. They should see them as the authorities in charge of safeguarding their lives at that particular point. They shouldn't go and show their masculine and feminine, you know, powers over there. Respect the police and you will have a peaceful demonstration.
And of course, to the police, respect the citizens and their rights. Do not abuse the power you have. Let us have a peaceful protest. Let's get our grievances heard to the government so they can take action. Let us respect one another and we will live peacefully in this country. Up next is the lifestyle segment, and Mimi and her guests will be talking about the essence of childhood vaccination. I know we've heard a lot about vaccines, especially with the incidence of the COVID-19 pandemic, but vaccination is very important, and Miriam's guest will educate us more on that. We will be right back after this break.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
I just want to take a moment and thank everyone in law enforcement who helped us in the search for us.
Good morning and welcome to the Business Update segment, where we bring you nothing but the best in the world of business. I am Clement Yabankwe. In today's story, starting with several oil marketing companies have started raising fuel prices at the pumps with the onset of October 1st pricing window. This comes after the 4 consecutive price reductions since the first pricing window in August. Shell, which previously sold petrol, that's fuel safe super at 13.94 Ghana cedis per litre during September second pricing window, now offers it at 13.79 Ghana cedis, and diesel also was at 13.99 per litre, is now priced at 14.35. Market analysts attribute the increase to global factors, including rising tensions in the Middle East, a 1.09% rise in petrol prices, a 1.6% rise in decrease, a 1.6% decrease in diesel prices, and the cedi depreciation against major currencies like the United States dollar. More OMCs are expected to follow and raise their prices in the coming days. In our second story, the Ivorian government has increased the farm gate. The Ivorian government has increased the farm gate for cocoa by 20%, settling at 1,800 CFA per kilogram for the harvest starting in October 1, according to the Agriculture Minister. This rate, according to the Agriculture Minister, this rate is due to the increase in Ghana cocoa prices. The price hike aims to reduce cocoa smuggling from Ivory Coast to Ghana, but may not completely stop illegal exports to countries like Liberia and Guinea, where prices are closer to global market rates. Last season, cocoa production in West Africa fell due to the bad weather, disease, and lack of farming inputs, driving cocoa future to record high of over 11,000 United States dollar per ton. Earlier this year, prices have since dropped to around 7,700 per ton United States dollar. Despite the global price surge, Ivorian and Ghanaian farm have been unable to fully moved off. In our third story for today, last week the local currency held steady. In our third story, last week the local currency held steady in the retail market but faced challenges in the interbank sector due to increased forex demand from traders and manufacturers in anticipation of the festive season. Retail rates for the euro and pounds remain unchanged at 18 Ghana cedis 3 pesos and 21 Ghana cedis 35 pesos respectively. However, the cedi depreciated slightly by 0.93% against the United States dollar, with the mid-rate improving to 16 Ghana cedis 20 pesos per dollar from 16 Ghana cedis 35 pesos per dollar. Analysts attribute the cedi stability in retail to better forex inflows and decreased speculative demand, awaiting the Monetary Policy Committee briefing on September 27, 2024. A recent 200 basis point cut calculating the foreign exchange market reference. Exchange rates market reference are expected to stabilize the dollar cedi exchange rate. That's all we have for you on Business Update segment. Stay tuned for the lifestyle segment. I am Clement Yabankwe.
Clog TV, beyond the policy.
the Cocoa Digest Morning Show here on Clock TV. I am Miriam Abna Adede. That was Ohima Messi on the tune Dry Bones. Well, it is all about the National Measles, Rubella and Vitamin A Supplementation campaign happening in Ghana, and it was rolled out by the Ministry of Health. And we at Clock TV, we are also joining hands in, sending across that education to our viewers. And that is why today we'll be discussing the essence of childhood vaccination, protecting the future generation. We want to also emphasize on the need for our viewers and everyone to vaccinate their kids and to help them and also safeguard them from, getting these preventable illnesses. And doing this education with me in the studio, I have with me the Deputy Programs Manager, expanded programs on immunization with the Ghana Health Service. And he's in the person of Dr. Naziru Tanko Mohammed. Hello, Doc.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
By God's grace, you are doing well. And yourself?
I'm doing so well. Thank you so much for coming. And
thank you for having me.
Right. I know this campaign is a 5-day campaign, right?
Yes.
Which started, I think, yesterday.
Yesterday. Yeah.
Why do you think parents need to prioritize, vaccinating their children?
Yes, thank you very much for having me this morning and for the opportunity for us to have this all-important conversation on immunization and its benefits. In fact, immunization has been documented as the most cost-effective intervention in preventing diseases and death among children. And so when you talk of why is it important for immunization to be prioritized, then I'll say that number one is basically to ensure that we are able to protect ourselves and our children against vaccine-preventable diseases. For some diseases that are troubling us within our environment or in our very day-to-day life, they can be prevented by vaccines.
Yeah.
And so with that opportunity, it is quite sad that sometimes we see our children and even sometimes adults coming down with such diseases. And so with the evidence that has been clearly documented that even for $1 of investment in vaccines or immunization, you get about $24 returns.
Oh, okay.
Such that the sickness that will have crippled or affected our children or our family members that we are going to spend so much on, will be able to save such expenditure. And then the child will be healthy, he'll be able to go to school, mother will be able to, or the caregivers will be able to also attend to their various economic activities.
Yeah.
The whole family will be happy. Sometimes these vaccine-preventable diseases lead to death. And as for death, is something that we want to ensure that no child should we lose in his early days in life. And vaccine has proven to be one of the effective means of doing so. But no matter how good these vaccines are, if our children are not, we do not avail our children.
Yeah.
And I would like to be adding adults by and large, because we also have adult vaccines by way of our COVID-19 vaccine that we're speaking about. Though this morning our conversation is centering around children mainly. Then it's like we are actually losing a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Look at our various hospitals, the cost of care that government day in, day out is crying that diseases are on the increase. We are not able to equip, if like, our various hospitals with the necessary drugs. If we prevent the disease, government will be able to make a lot of savings. And then maybe that amount will be channeled into other areas of the sectors of the economy, so that our lives or our economy will also boost. The catastrophic cost that will be associated with healthcare will be reduced. And children will generally grow healthy. And I think that because of some of these reasons, we should be able to prioritize our children ourselves for vaccine.
Exactly. Well said. But you made mention of the fact that no matter how good a vaccine is, I thought you were going to talk about some misconceptions. And so tell us some of the misconceptions surrounding vaccines.
Yes, thank you very much. I think generally some segment of the population usually have been influenced by rumors and myths that either vaccines are used to, what is it, a means of control birth, that is family planning instrument or tool. Others are of the opinion that some people are making their own money from the use of the vaccines and others.
Yeah.
And generally, I would say that all these have no scientific basis. They have no scientific basis because if even you look, I'll take the Ghanaian setup, where the immunization program, that is the expanded program on immunization, was set up in somewhere 1978. Since 1978, we've been giving vaccines to children in Ghana. If indeed vaccines do cause infertility or is used to control birth, then it means that those that are born after 1978, most of them should be experiencing infertility or inability to give birth by now. But you will agree with me that our sisters, aunties, and most of them receive these vaccines. And we are still reproducing. That is the empirical evidence that what we are saying is not true. That generally there are a group of people who are generally against vaccines for whatever reasons. And I will say that for some, they are not fully informed about the benefit that we stand to gain. They've also been influenced by some of these negative stories that they hear about vaccines. And I must say that the public should disregard those misconceptions. The vaccines are very, very good. Either to, when you move around in our communities, we see children with diseases like polio, i.e. Those with weakness in their limbs or in their legs, they are not able to walk, sometimes even in the upper limb. Nowadays, it's something of the past. You don't see those cases such as, all because of the good things that vaccine has done to us as a country. We used to have a lot of cases of neonatal tetanus. Unfortunately, killing a lot of our children during the 1970s or in those earlier age. But fortunately, since 2011, we have been able to eliminate neonatal tetanus from our population in Ghana here, which is a very good news. In fact, until recent past, cases of measles were something that, in fact, even those of us who are trained as medics, you can finish your training, you've not even seen a single case for you for them to demonstrate for you how it looks like. Until recent, when our immunization program was affected by the COVID pandemic and the recent deaths and the stocks levels of the vaccine, we were doing very well. And because of the reduction in our coverage rates for the vaccines, we started seeing cases of measles, which was very topical in our media. And some of these are very clear evidence that, yes, without the vaccines, then the diseases that hitherto we thought were something of the past, they will start resurfacing. And so we need to all put our acts together, ensure that those that we've been able to fight against and win over, we do not lag behind for it to resurface in any way.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Well, if you just joined us, this is the lifestyle segment of the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, and we've been discussing the essence of childhood vaccination. And if you just joined us, you can join in the conversation by sending in your comments to our WhatsApp number, which is on your screens right now, or via streaming platforms, Facebook and also YouTube. We'll gladly read out all your questions regarding the essence of childhood vaccination. We have Doc here with us, so don't miss out on this opportunity. Right. Now, Doc, let's look at the importance of timely vaccination. Why is it very important for parents to vaccinate their children within a specific time?
Thank you very much. So the vaccination program is very much guided by science.
Okay.
There are certain diseases that we know the time period within which it usually affects children. And the vaccines we have available have been tried and tested, and they are scheduled, known such that when they are delivered within those schedule, within those period, it is known that they are able to protect these children in the most efficient and effective manner. So if we deviate from what the science is telling us, i.e. in terms of the scheduling of those vaccines, then we tend then to expose the children to these vaccine preventable diseases. So if you take a disease like polio or the measles that currently we are dealing with, when a child is born, usually it is known that he's able to receive some maternal protection against the disease.
Yeah.
By the age of 9 months, it is known that that immunity level tends to wane down, and then it is that time that he starts getting what? Exposed.
Yeah.
And so the scheduling for the vaccine then is put at a time that when the exposure or the protection that he's gaining from the maternal side is waning off, then that of the vaccine comes to take over.
Oh, okay.
So if by age 9 months that child does not receive it, then it means that what he's expecting to receive from, or what he was supposed to be benefiting from the mother, is no more with him or her. And so when the disease finds itself in that environment, then he can easily go down with that disease. So it is scheduled in Ghana that at 9 months you receive the first dose of the measles rubella vaccine. Then at 18 months, so that that child becomes maximally protected. So some children, for instance, are given the first dose. Mother thinks that by each 12 months or 1 year, this child has started walking. Oh, then he has graduated.
Yeah.
He has still not benefited maximally from that measles rubella vaccine because he's supposed to receive two doses for the maximal protection, as the science of it has shown us. So if that child does not receive it at the 18 month, then he's exposed to getting the measles or the measles rubella disease. And at the end of the day, he'll still come down with the disease.
Right. Doc, we have a question here. And my name is Sewa, watching you from Kaswa. Could you ask Doc to differentiate between immunization and vaccination?
Okay. So thank you very much for the question. Usually, or sometimes we use those words interchangeably, but the vaccination is the act of introducing the vaccine into the human body. That is the process.
Yeah.
But after this particular introduction in the human body, the body must respond to the vaccine in order to develop the necessary immunity or protection for the vaccine recipient. If the body is able to respond appropriately or as expected, such that the antibodies, or what we call the soldiers that we are expecting to fight the disease when the body comes in contact with the disease, are able to be developed in adequate quantities, such that when the disease comes, the body can fight it. Then we say that such a child or such an individual has been what? Immunized. In other words, there are people that may receive the vaccine or they'll be vaccinated, but their body may not respond to the vaccine as expected, develop the necessary protection to fight the disease. In that case, they have been vaccinated, but they have not been what? Immunized. So that is the difference between the two. But in our normal day-to-day interaction, sometimes we use those words interchangeably, assuming that all vaccinations given to the individual will be ending in getting him immunized.
Exactly. Okay. And Doc, on the issue of immunization, what role would you say vitamin A supplementation, plays in a child's life? Because I've heard a lot of parents say, my child has been vaccinated, why do I need to give her vitamin A supplements?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll be very glad that our viewers get it very clear that when we talk of vitamin A, it is not a vaccine. It is a supplement. And it is a supplement in the sense that what the vitamin A supplement or the capsules that we are giving to these children, what it tends to give the children, they tend to get it from either the food substances we are eating or when they are young, even from the breast milk that their mothers are giving them. But sometimes they do not receive the adequate quantities. And so in order to ensure that all our children are well covered, then we are giving them those supplements in addition. So the mode of operation of the vitamin A capsules is different from the way the vaccines are working. The vitamin A is known that it is able to boost these children their immunity against diseases, such that it helps within our blood. There is a component that we call the white blood cell that usually fight infection. It is known that the vitamin A helps in the functioning of these white blood cells. Then, very, very importantly, vitamin A also helps in maintaining the integrity of the surfaces of our organs. I'll put it generally like that, such that within our intestines, the cover of the intestine, the vitamin A helps protect the lining, which we are calling the intestinal mucosa. Within our lungs too, there are some linings. It helps protect the integrity. Then within our urethra, where we urinate, it also has that function. At the end of the day, all these put together ensures that inflammations, infections that could have affected these surfaces, the vitamin A strengthens these organs such that they do not come down with the diseases. And so vitamin A is very, very critical, especially in children that are exposed to diseases of those nature, coughs by way of pneumonia, diarrhea diseases and others. When they get the vitamin A, it helps them a lot. And yes, we encourage that children are given various food supplements or food substances so that they're able to derive some of these. And I'll say that most of our food or fruits that are yellowish has rich sources of the vitamin A.
Okay.
But it is known that for most children, they do not have it. And so generally as a program in Ghana, we tend to supplement those ones so that no child goes down with deficiency of the vitamin A, because the consequences are not pleasant, such that somebody develops what we call night blindness. In the night, he's not able to see too well. They tend to develop skin diseases or skin rashes because their vitamin A levels are very low and others. We do not want our children to go through that trouble. That's why we are giving them the vitamin.
So it means it is not only for children. Adults should also, take in a lot of vitamin A.
Vitamin A. And for adults, for them, they rely on mainly the food substances or the food sources, because we have a lot of rich sources from the foods that we are eating. Something like the liver of either the sheep or the goat when we go is very rich in vitamin A.
Wow.
Tangerine, tangerine with the yellow cover has a very rich source of vitamin A. Watermelon has it. Carrots, the yellow, fruits and vegetables that when we take it, they are very pinkish or yellowish. They are very rich sources of vitamin A. And for adults, that should be sufficient for them. It is our children that we are very, very much worried. Their cells are replicating day in, day out, and they are more prone to the infection. So we don't want to take chances such that any caregiver is not able to provide the necessary amount or quantities to the child, and then he comes down with the disease.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Doc, with the issue of measles, we all know that this measles, rubella vaccination is helping to prevent a disease like measles. What other diseases do these vaccines prevent our children from getting?
Yes, so we have various vaccines for various diseases or infections.
Oh, okay.
So right from birth, we have the polio, oral droplets that we are giving to the children. And then we also have the injection that we give to them to protect them against TB, tuberculosis. Then moving forward, by age 6 weeks, we are giving them a pentavalent vaccine, a vaccine 5-in-1, as we call it, which is protecting them against the disease we call pertussis, Haemophilus influenza type B. It's protecting them against tetanus. It's protecting them against hepatitis B infection. So a whole lot. In fact, at that 6 weeks, we are giving them a vaccine against what we call rotavirus. A rotavirus is an infection that usually causes the children to have a lot of diarrhea. Our caregivers relate so much, especially in those early days. One of their biggest concerns with children is them usually passing a lot of stools, watery stools or watery diarrhea. And the rotavirus is able to help protect these children against that. Then when we are moving on at age 9 months, as we are protecting them against the measles, rubella, which currently we are having the campaign nationwide because some children we've not been able to reach with the vaccine. We are taking the opportunity from the 2nd yesterday to the 6th of October to be able to reach the children In fact, not only those we've not reached, but it's for all children in Ghana that are under 5 years, from 9 months to 5 years. We are giving them doses of the measles rubella because some of the children we've not been able to reach. Those we've been able to reach, when we give it to them, it comes like an additional, we call it booster to those children, such that by the end of the 5 days campaign, we'll be able to reach at least 95% of our targets or more to ensure that our children are protected against measles and rubella so that we don't lose them to the disease as they age. Then we also have yellow fever. In recent past, we've heard that we've had yellow fever outbreaks, a very devastating disease when it strikes our children with mortality or deaths very, very high when somebody gets the disease. Then also in some of our regions, in fact, currently in 11 out of our 16 regions, we are also giving vaccine against malaria. I'm sure for those in Accra, it is a news because we've not started in Accra yet. But in regions like Upper East, Bono, Ahafo, and Bono East, we've started. Volta and Uti have already started. In recently, that is just last month, we added 4 more regions. Upper West, Savannah, Northern region, and then Western North regions. They have also started the malaria vaccine. Then our meningitis, the meningitis vaccine, is also in the program. So generally, quite a lot of diseases. In fact, we'll say that about 40 infections we are preventing against diseases in Ghana. And so when we see a child that for one reason or the other, he has not received any of these vaccines at the right time, then we are worried because they always say prevention is better than cure. Why do we let our children be exposed to these diseases?
Yes, I mean, I've been wondering because looking at what you just said, it looks like it is for our own good. The health service is doing all these things. Yet there are still, some parents who are very hesitant when it comes to vaccinating their children. Could there be some kind of misinformation somewhere?
Yes. So as I mentioned, for some people they are misinformed from groups that for sometimes, in fact, for religious reasons, they are not in favor of vaccination. But we continuously engage them so that we understand that the vaccines are there to help us. And generally, when the human being or the caregivers understand the benefits that comes with the vaccine, they make the children available for us to vaccinate them. So mainly the misinformation, the rumors, especially around the infertility issues I mentioned to you. We are generally within the African context where we do not like to joke with issues about fertility. So those that are campaigning against vaccines usually use that means to confuse or misinform.
But what is your outfit doing about it?
So actually we are continuously engaging the communities through our officers that are stationed across the country in the communities. We're also using the various media. One of such engagements we are having this morning, the radio stations, the community information centers, a lot of them we are engaging to help us carry the message around the benefits of vaccination. We're also using key influencers, people who have benefited from vaccine, to actually tell the good or the success stories they've seen about vaccines. Then the information or the data that we have available, we try to put it in the various online and print media for those who can read, to also read and understand what good things that the vaccines are actually offering us.
Right. We'll be wrapping up shortly. We have a question here. Please ask Doc, why is it childhood vaccination? Does it mean compulsorily once you are born, you have to be vaccinated?
Thank you very much. It is not compulsory, but for your own good. Why? Because the vaccines are to prevent us against common infections that we have in our environment. So if for any reason you have not received it, you are exposing yourself to the danger of such infections. You are exposing your family to such dangers. Because if within a family, some of the diseases are such that it spreads very easily. So if you are within the family and you have not protected yourself, then by and large, you are also exposing your family members. You go and pick it from outside, bring it to them, and then at the end, it may affect the entire family. You are going to use a lot of money to get it cured if we are lucky. And for most of them, we tend to lose them, unfortunately. In fact, for some of the diseases, they are not, I would say, curable or treatable. A disease like polio, when somebody gets paralytic polio, the child is maimed for life. He's not able to continue his daily activities. Every day, he has to sometimes depend on others. In fact, the discomfort that it comes with it is very, very high, which we say that just receive either the few drops of the vaccine or the shot of the vaccine, and then you are protected. So it is not compulsory, though by law, the law ensures or stipulates that all children under 5 in Ghana must receive or shall be given the vaccine. So that even if it needs to be forced on the child for him to be vaccinated, the law actually guarantees that the healthcare worker can do that. But we think that if we engage and engage appropriately, such that the population or the community understands what the vaccines are there to do for us, then we will willingly come for it. And it tends to actually help us more than when it comes to it being forced onto the...
Okay, we have another question here. I am David, watching you from Ministries. Okay, so yeah, around. I have seen your banner somewhere. I want to know what would be discussed at the meeting. I think that has to do with the launch that happened on Tuesday.
Okay. So the launch that was, I think, on Wednesday, or was it on Tuesday. The first? On Tuesday. Yeah. Yes, that was on the Tuesday. Was to announce to the entire public, the Ghanaian population, and even beyond, that we have set aside the 2nd to 6th of October to conduct a measles rubella vaccination campaign that is to be integrated, or that is integrated with vitamin A supplementation, all in an effort to boost the population, their protection that we are offering them against measles, rubella, and its associated complication, and also the deficiency of vitamin A, so that our children that are from 9 months to 59 months, or 9 months to 5 years, will not be affected by the unfortunate consequences or complications of these diseases, which include sometimes death, sometimes deafness, sometimes loss of the eyesight or the night blindness I mentioned, sometimes, in fact, we have a condition we call the congenital rubella syndrome, which usually affects women in reproductive age. When they conceive, they're able to, if they are infected by rubella, they're able to pass the disease onto their unborn child. So when the child is born, the child will come out with diseases like the typical hole in heart, congenital heart diseases, as we call it. Sometimes they come with white pupils, cataracts. Then sometimes they come with small hairs, microcephaly. Then sometimes they are mentally retarded. When you give birth to such a child, and it's because of congenital rubella syndrome, it is just sad, because just a dose of the vaccination in our routine, which we've made 2 doses, will have been enough to protect the child against these conditions. And for that matter, even the mother later when she was becoming pregnant. But because she did not receive it, she is giving birth to such a child. So we wanted to announce to the public that within this period, which started yesterday, we should make our children who fall within this age category available at our various health facilities. We will also be operating at various busy markets by way of mobile teams. We'll set up teams that will be offering these vaccinations. For areas that are hard to reach, in other words, to travel to those places very far, reverend communities and others, we will have the campouts where a group of healthcare workers will move to those communities, go and stay there for some number of days to provide these services.
Lastly,
for them.
Doc, we know the measles rubella vaccine is supposed to be taken twice, right?
In the routine program.
Okay, so what happens if there is an overdose? Someone takes 3.
Okay.
Are there some potential side effects?
Okay, so fortunately for us, for vaccines, there are no overdose of the vaccines because the body is able to handle them. The body sees them as additional level of protection that the child is being offered. So we are saying that even for those who have received their 2 doses for the measles rubella vaccine in the routine schedule, they should still go and receive this vaccine in addition. It has no side effect in that regard, or it has no overdose in that regard. The body will still benefit from that additional dose that is going to be offered.
Okay, your last words.
My last words is that for everything that is good, it is always good that you share it with your brothers and sisters. And the Ghana Health Service has a lot of these good vaccines that we are talking about. It is meant to protect our children, and for the adult vaccine, even the adult population. But within this period of the campaign, let's make our children who are between the ages of 9 months to 5 years, or 59 months as we put it in our language, available at our various health facilities so that they will be given these vaccines to ensure that they are fully protected against vaccine-preventable diseases.
Thank you so much, Doc, for that education. I hope you also learned something. Doc is saying we should make our children available for that discussion. And I have this conversation with the Deputy Programs Manager, Expanded Programs on Immunization at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Naziru Tanko Mohammed. He was our guest for today as we discussed the essence of childhood vaccination, protecting the future generation. Thank you so much, Doc.
Thank you very much.
Right. So we have amazing personalities to celebrate right after this. Stay with us.
I heard today was your birthday. I heard today was your birthday. Today was your birthday.
Right, so you're welcome back. Now let's start with our first birthday celebrant. And this is to Smile. Happy birthday to you, Smile. Wishing you many more years of God's blessings and favor. And this is also to Samuel Ewo from Queen Eva. A million magic wishes to you, Samuel. May your incredible soul rejoice in your new level up in celebration today, my dearest friend. And this is also to Mr. and Mrs. Boateng. Happy blessed 10th wedding anniversary to my spiritual father, Prophet Akwesi Boateng, and wife, Madwa Frimpoma Boateng. As you celebrate another year of love and companionship, may your bond deepen with each passing moment. Your love is a testament to God's grace and the strength of your devotion to one another. From your son, Marcelo, and the entire Pathfinder of the Tabernacle of David, Assemblies of God Church. And this is also to Lady Abigail. Wishing you a day filled with joy, laughter, and God's blessings. Have a great day today and a testimony-filled year ahead. Happy birthday from CLBC BYL Ministry. This is also, in advance to Soft Life, Nadia. Wishing you the best in life, good health, and happiness to you, Empress. A happy birthday to Edmond Abeku Ando. God bless you and exalt you. Thank you for being an amazing friend and brother. Have an amazing year. A happy birthday to Exonam Donyo. God bless you and increase you. Cheers to more years of joy and laughter. Have an amazing year, Odogu. We also have this from Oyibo to Caleb Opokubuat Obeng. I want to wish Caleb Opoku Obeng a happy belated and blissful birthday. You have been a very good friend, and I appreciate you for that. Your kind is rare, and your sense of humor has brought laughter to the faces of many. So may God make you laugh always. Happy birthday to you again, my brother, and I love you. Happy birthday to you, my dear bro. May the good Lord bless you, wisdom and knowledge. Okay, with wisdom and knowledge. This is to Mr. and Mrs. Asameni, from your favorite cousin and in-law. Happy anniversary to you, my people. Wishing you many more years of love, joy, and peace in your home. I pray for more children and that they will grow to become just like you too. And this is from Jessica with all my love. Dr. Janice, today we celebrate you and all the joy you bring into our lives. You are not just my sister, but also my confidant and best friend. May this year be filled with laughter, love, and all the dreams you wish to achieve. Here's to more adventures together and countless cherished moments. Enjoy your special day to the fullest. This is from Jessica to Auntie Mabel. Blessed birthday to my superwoman, Auntie Lady May, President of the Twin Mama Association, President of Bond 4 Squad. You be too much. I love you. Enjoy your new year. And the last one is from Jessica to Yvonne. Happy birthday, Yvonne. My prayer for you is that this smile will never fade, and may you excel in whatever your hands find to do. Thank you so much for bringing in your birthday messages. It is always an honor to celebrate this moment with you. This is where we end the lifestyle and also birthday segment here on the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. And Yaira Awuno is up next with her guests to discuss some important issues. Stay with us.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
I just want to take a moment and thank everyone in law enforcement
Clog TV. Beyond the Policy.
Yeah, welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, and we're about to have our main discussion. And today's topic, as I mentioned earlier, is about medical negligence and infant mortality. And we have a short documentary by our guest on infant mortality. So let's have a look at that.
Medical literature indicates that 41% of neonatal deaths occur, which are very much preventable. It means that we are having to see our sisters or our mothers suffer or see their babies die through needless deaths, preventable deaths, which hitherto could have been prevented. The main causes of infant wrongful death include failure to intervene when you have a fetal distress and there is not an immediate intervention that can cause infant wrongful death. You also have issues of asphyxiation, you have wrongful medication, you have anesthetic error, and then untimely intervention of CS. Some of these things are caused by negligence by the obstetrician gynecologists and the midwives. And this year's seminar is based to educate health persons in this particular category. This is an educative program to help the general public and also the health institutions. It is everything to bring the two in tangent so that at all times health delivery in the country will be enhanced. It is important for you to be aware of your environment.
Yes, so that was a short documentary by our guest, and he's in the person of lawyer Christian Libert Malm Hesse Esquire. He's a senior associate at Ecom Law Consult, which is located around the airport residential area. We've had him here on this show to talk about medical negligence before, but today we are focusing more on infant mortality. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us here once again. We are most grateful to have you.
Pleasure is mine.
So, yes, we want to, you asked us, you gave us this short documentary on infant mortality, but I think our viewers, would like to know, the basics of infant mortality, if you can throw some light on that.
Yes. Before I get into infant mortality, there might be some viewers who probably didn't follow us in respect of the first episode we had. So wrongful infant death, that's it. Wrongful infant death is one of the areas of medical negligence. Now, and medical negligence comes under the area of law of tort. It's one of the aspects of law. So it's more of a subset in a subset, and tort deals with a wrong, or comes under the broader law of civil wrong. Okay. And so when one is injured or wrongfully harmed, we say that there must be a compensatory regime. And that's how tortious claims come about. So diving into it, in law of tort, about 2/3 of law of tort deals with negligence. Okay. And a negligence we have medical negligence. And medical negligence, with it, we have two main aspects. We have the criminal side and we have the civil side, like I spoke of the last time, just wrapping up so viewers will follow what we'll do today. And so we have intentional harm and unintentional harm. So the unintentional harm deals with, or reckless harm, deals with the more medical negligence. And then the other one, the intentional harm leading to death, deals with malpractice. Okay. Now, narrowing further, when we talk about medical negligence, there are 4 pillars that grounds it. So we first look at the duty of care. If one walks into the hospital and the physicians or health workers start to begin to attend to you, we say the duty of care is established. Simpliciter, not going into the details of what the legal definitions and all that. That is more of legalese. Now, then we say that where one departs from the duty or falls short of the duty, we say that there's a breach. And as a result of the breach, or in establishing the breach, we try to establish the causal link. So we have various tests that we use in law to establish causation. And when the lawyer has been able to do that, then we say then damages have been proven, or damages will result from it as a result of the breach and then the causation established. So basically, in a nutshell, these are the 4 areas that deals with medical negligence or establishing the various elements to come about medical negligence. Now, in dealing with medical negligence, there are various aspects. We have issues of physician errors. We have aspects of clinical errors. We have wrongful infant death. Now, when we talk about wrongful infant death, it should not be construed that every infant mortality is negligent. Or if a baby dies, that means that negligence has arisen. No, because there are babies who are born or who die as a result of genetic disposition and and other natural causes. So that primarily cannot be attributed or imputed to the physician or the physician handling this particular mother or child. Okay. Now, when it comes to this area of negligence, there are 3 main health professionals who are mostly held liable, or the tortfeasor might be one of them. So when we say the tortfeasor, in law of tort, the wrongdoer is the tortfeasor. Okay. So the gynae or the obstetrician or what do you call it? The midwife. These are the 3 main health professionals. Or in some situations, we have the obstetrician gynae. So it could be one person,
But what about the nurses that are also around helping out?
Yeah, I am not saying those ones or those general nurses might not play a role in leading up to such a negligent occurrence. But these are the main professionals because they are directly in contact with mother and child. Okay. So the gynae would begin or would attend to the mother from having clinicals with respect to antenatal, yes, all through term, and then to delivery. Even delivery, where it is not complicated, the midwife might decide to birth the child. Okay. Where complications abound, the gynae would be there. So these are the main persons, but it does not mean that others will not be involved. Again, others might be involved because in a situation where you are having cesarean, a lady is having cesarean, you have there will be administration of anesthesia. Yes. So if that person gets it wrong, it becomes an issue. We'll go into causes of wrongful infant death. So wrongful infant death deals with infant mortality that is preventable. Okay. You see, and it says that about 41% of our babies are lost through that. 41% that fall under the age of 5 die as a result of this. And so one sits back and says that this is a worrying situation. It is not just in Ghana, globally. It's a worrying situation. And if you pay heed closely to our midwives or hospitals that deals with delivery or fertility issue, injuries or birth injuries that leads to harm or death is quite rampant.
Okay.
And the only way that some of these things can be solved, unless natural, is through advocacy from civil service organizations or other educational programs, just as some of us do by running seminars around the various hospitals.
Okay, so can you shed some light on some of the common errors that are committed that cause the preventable infant deaths?
Yeah, so we have issues of medication error. So medication error is one of the major things. You would have a pregnant woman who would be prescribed with a certain medication or drug for whatever complication she is suffering from. And when the medication goes wrong, there could be complications.
Okay.
Now, and these complications sometimes trickle down to the baby.
Okay.
Now, we have what we call fetal distress. So if it trickles down to the baby, you would realize that delivery becomes a problem, or it can even affect the placenta.
Okay.
You know, and it can cause various problems. So medication error is one. I mentioned anesthesia. Anesthesia error too is one, where the administration of it becomes quite problematic. It also could affect mother and child. Now, we also have issues of untimely emergency CS.
Okay.
It is a very, very important area. I'm currently dealing with one matter at the High Court where the woman suffered from that. You know, before you go through the delivery process, you fill forms and you indicate whether you would want elective CS or not. Some would go by vaginal delivery. Some would elect for that. Now, in situation where the woman elected for vaginal delivery, and in the course of the delivery, it becomes very eminent that the woman cannot birth the child. At that particular point, in law, we would ask ourselves, we use the Batford test, you know, what would a professional exercising his or her objective professional mind do in such a situation? Where the woman is telling you that I cannot push, and then you tell the woman that, oh, other women have done it, you can also do it. Push. And now, when this complication begins to grow, it is linked to the fetus.
Yeah.
And then the fetus will start distressing. So now that also becomes another area of the problem. You have fetal distress, and you would have the heartbeat of the child beginning to go down. Now, in this particular situation, the hospital, even though the woman kept asking for it, they failed to exercise that call. And by the time that baby came out, before that, the woman kept struggling. And the cannulas and all that kept coming out. Then they'll put it in. She was basically tossing herself on the trough. And this was a situation that before it, she had been augmented without consent. So augmentation is they put a drug to induce labor. Okay. Now, the woman is her first time, and she's 30 years plus, 31, 32. Now, you need first to explain the procedure, the implications of the drug, for the person to psych her mind to it. But immediately, and when you take it, the ripple effect, and it is quite biting. For women who have gone through it, they know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so it followed through, and the woman became very agitated and stressed, and the delivery also prolonged. So prolonged delivery is one of them.
Yeah, so it could even lead to complications.
Yeah, so it led to complications. And then we have what we call birth asphyxiation or birth asphyxia.
So the child
child came out not responding, lethargic, was just there. And when it happens like that, the child would suffer from various complications, including seizures.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally the child died. The child died. So birth asphyxiation or asphyxia is one of them. Then physical trauma. So in situation where there's is it breech presentation or abnormal presentation of the baby in the womb. There has been situations that have come before me where the hospital failed to carry out scan at the last stages to see the presentation of the baby. Now, there was also another situation where because they didn't scan the child to know the size of the baby, it met them as a surprise. Yeah, and they had to slit the vagina. They call it episiotomy. Yeah. And you know, when you are handling the child, if you are not too careful enough or professional enough, you might injure the nerves of the child, and that might also lead to epilepsy.
Okay.
You know, and aside that, you might even cause injury to the brain, especially when you are using forceps or extractor. So these are some of the things that cause birth injuries that are avoidable. So if these things are avoidable, whether it causes injury or death, we say that it is wrongful, and the family can make a claim for that.
Okay. So I think I know somebody that when she was going to have her child, was afraid of, you see, as you mentioned, some of the professionals will say, oh, women before you have done it before. So, because apparently too, there's also this notion in the hospitals that imani be omutimia mode. So they are in pain, and this pain is warranted, and maybe they are expressing the pain. They are sort of stifled from that. So I think the child was crowning, and instead of she was afraid to let them know she was in pain. The child was crowning, so she was just there quiet in pain. Is that something that the hospital can be held liable for in case something happens to the child, or it is the mother's fault?
Yeah, I mean, in situation where the crown shows the baby is not able to come, there might be some form of obstruction. It could be that the umbilical cord is around the child.
Yeah.
It could be an obstruction where the placenta, it could be a lot of things. I'm not a medical doctor, but for us as lawyers, we use the reports to make our case in court. And someone who is so interested in medical area and building that profile, some of these things become very, very important and very, very much of interest to us. And it is everything necessary that health workers, especially these three areas, the gynae, the obstetrician, whether the person is 2 in 1, and then the midwives, they really need to take the thing so seriously and not leave it to air. Because when they leave it out, you have a midwife who says that the woman kept opening and closing her thighs, and that caused delayed delivery. Delayed delivery is one of the causes of wrongful infant death. And if you are the health worker in the delivery room and a woman is seriously in pain, and by your professional judgment, you realize that given the duration expected for delivery, the pain as aggravated is not allowing the baby to be birthed through the birth canal. What comes to your mind?
What would be your best judgment call? Because your failure to exercise the best judgment call, and we have what we call the Bolam test, we would say that a professional acting in that capacity, what is the expected standard? What is the medical opinion of a professional working in that particular situation, given that moment? What is required? It would be, in law, we will say that a professional in that particular situation giving medical opinion. And this medical opinion will not come from the lawyer, but it will come from the expert opinion that the lawyer will bring to court to testify for his case.
Yeah.
And if it is established that a midwife who or hitherto in that particular position, and based upon or hindsight of medical opinion, will have a call, a professional call to exercise elective CS, then that particular midwife who failed to exercise that professional judgment call has fallen below the standard, and by that is liable.
Okay. So I have two questions.
Yes.
My first question is, in the movies that we watch, we hear about epidural and the rest. In Ghana, is it a right? Do we have the right to access to the epidural, or it is just something that, just like anesthesia, we can opt for?
You see, when it comes to all these things, anesthesia, you consent forms, with procedure, consent forms are always given.
Okay.
And we have, you call it informed consent form.
Okay.
And we have tacit, we have express consent form, we have surrogate consent forms, or implied consent forms. I always tell the hospitals that the best form of consent form is express consent form. Now, if the person is not conscious enough, you can always procure consent from the family.
Yeah.
And with that too, you at least procure 2 signatures, and then a doctor must also sign to it. And it must be explained in the language that the family understands. So there must be a jurat. A jurat is an interpretation clause that explains to the family the procedure that is about to be carried through.
Okay, so my second question is also that you mentioned that sometimes the mother can opt for maybe the natural birth or with the CS. So in a situation where the natural birth is not going to work out, and now like the judgment call has to be a CS, and then she, in pain, in all the distress, she agrees to it, but later she maybe, I don't know, later based on the fact that she did not opt for the CS, she decides to take some sort of legal action. Is she well in her rights to do so?
So this is it. A woman signs up for vaginal delivery. So going into the labor room, everybody knows that this is what. So I mean, there's no provision of CS medication and all those apparatus. Now, just as she started, probably she's been given some medication or something, and she begins to react, or probably the vaginal delivery is not going on well, and the woman herself elects or calls for CS. Now, for elective CS, it might not be once, it might not be twice, but this woman monotonously keeps calling for it. Now, you also have the husband of this woman present in the delivery room. At that point in time, as professionals, you need to start making, because your judgment call, and as you experience, sees that the more time we waste, complications will result. Now, the legal bit of it is that whilst the doctors or the midwives are attending to, definitely one person can call the husband aside and explain the situation to him. And that is where surrogate consent form comes in, so that the hospital will be protected from any liability.
My question is right on the flip side. You see, there are people with these notions about the types of birth, right? So she wants to give birth like an Israelite woman or Hebrew woman, like they say. But based on maybe the turn of events at that time where she's supposed to deliver, the child has, maybe it's a breech birth this time. So the professional now tells her, the way the baby's positioned, you can't push. So let's have the CS. She's in pain, she wants her baby and everything, so she says okay. But afterwards, she says she consented to a natural birth and then they did CS for her and things. You know that kind of emotional reaction sometimes people have. That I'm asking that, is she well within her right to take any legal action against them?
Oh, in this situation, the hospital can defend itself.
Okay.
Because if the baby is in a breech position and the best way to save mother and child is that particular is the elective CS. The hospital can defend itself.
Okay.
And why would she bring an action unless, of course, injury has flowed through it.
Okay.
Injury in terms of death or abnormality suffered either by her or the child. The court will be interested to establish whether the procedure, the elective CS carried out, was done in accordance with medical body opinion, or it was below the standard. Now, just as I mentioned, in that situation, that the hospital or the professional realizes that vaginal delivery will not be of the situation. One of the midwives must be able to communicate to the family, whether mother, sister, and most of the time the husband would be around. You communicate to the husband and you pass on a consent form to that particular person. I always tell the hospitals that it is everything necessary for you to insulate yourself. Medicine works hand in hand with the law.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's getting very, very educative here. And don't forget to send in your comments and your questions. You can also call in to ask your questions. Our WhatsApp number has been displayed on your screen, so you can send in your questions for us to ask our lawyer here. Anything you need to know. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. And when we come back, we'll open the phone lines for you to call in and ask your questions. Back.
Clog TV. Beyond the policy.
Yeah, welcome back to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. If you're just tuning in, this is the Cocoa Digest Morning Show, and we are discussing medical negligence and infant mortality here with a lawyer in the person of lawyer Christian Libret Malmhesi, and he is one advocate for medical negligence, educating people all around Ghana about medical negligence. So don't forget to send in your questions to our live stream on Facebook and on YouTube, and of course onto our WhatsApp number. And then you can also call in to ask your questions and we will have them answered for you. So, lawyer, how can families identify if infant mortality is due to medical negligence or not?
Yeah, very important question. I always say in my advocacy that the best way to help yourself or your relative is to be very observant throughout the gestation period and then the delivery period. It is very important because that is where you are able to see what is being done right or what is being done wrong. Now, you should be one person who, if you can't put things to memory, chronicle it. This phone is all over the place. And so I always tell people, if it depends on your level of education, but if you are literate, chronicle it on the note side of your phone. If the person is not that literate, you should find ways of having a retentive memory of whatever might have happened.
Oh, but so, you know, even with that, the not so literate could use the voice recorder to sort of record the information. Yes. So, like just like the notes where with the time, if they know how to use their phones, they know this is a recorder. They can just tap, oh, this happened, this, in whatever language they are fluent in. I think that's an option, right?
Yeah, it's always an option. Okay. I say this because the case that I'm handling, the husband did so well. The husband chronicled every event, the sequence of occurrence. At this time, the baby, she was given augmentation. At this time, she was pushed into a delivery room. The mother went in at this time. They called her to come and persuade that. I had to go and get this at that time. Delivery came at it. And because of the chronicling, we were able to fish out the inconsistencies in the hospital's own witness statements.
Okay. So basically, families should take, careful note of everything that happens from the beginning to the end.
If you are not observant about the events, it will be difficult, or you will not be an asset to your lawyer to help establish negligence. All you would say is that they didn't take good care of whoever. They didn't take good care of whoever. But further probing will become difficult for you. It's your relative. You should be wide awake.
Okay. So our phone lines are open now. So we'll be waiting for your questions. Call in and ask any question you would like to ask relating to medical negligence and infant mortality. So what are the legal rights of parents who have lost their child due to medical negligence or the infant mortality we are talking about?
Oh, right to sue.
So
you stand in locus parentis. Yes, you are the parent of the child and you have suffered an injury. So you sue.
Okay.
Yes,
so
you sue.
In suing, are there this is where your right ends, or it is free, you are literally, you have access to everything in the suing jurisdiction?
Yeah, so what it is that we sue at venue. So in law, when you say at venue, where the defendant hospital is, that's where you sue. Or in the alternative, where the incident happened, that's where you sue. So we'll sue the health workers, if it's plural, fine, or the health worker, because that health worker cannot pay the liability or the damage that we are looking for, because normally it's in millions. So we'll attach the hospital. And the test to attach the hospital is to establish whether at that particular time, was that health worker in employment relationship? And mostly it is yes.
Okay.
So then the hospital will become vicariously liable.
Okay.
And so we hold them jointly and several. Okay. So that principle, basically, the judgment debt would hang over should you win. Should the claimant be successful in court, the judgment debt would hover over the two.
Okay.
And definitely we'll go for the hospital because they have the money. We'll garnish their accounts for the bank to come and show cause why it should not pay the money to the judgment creditor, or we go by rate of FIFE to sell off through judicial sale.
Okay.
That would be auction.
Okay.
Yeah. Reserve price and other things will be determined after valuation and all that had been done. Okay. And the advertisement had also been carried out in accordance with rules of court. And then, or the CI 47. And then the health medical equipments would be sold to satisfy the judgment debt.
So if the medical equipment are sold,
yes,
and now the other clients or patients need that facility, what happens then?
Yeah, so that tells you that a hospital management must be a prudent management team. Okay. Because if you're a hospital and you are loaded with, or you are daunted with 2-3 medical negligence cases, and lawyers are suing you 5 million, 3 million, 4 million, 10 million, and depending, there are calculations to it. Okay. But for whatever the calculation may be and whatever the claimant will be able to establish, the court would give some million.
Okay.
And you have that a lot.
All right.
You run out into insolvency.
We have a caller on the line. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. You're welcome to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Thank you for calling. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Good morning. Please, my name is Monica. I'm calling from Australia.
Okay.
Please, I have a question to ask.
Okay.
I had a previous pregnancy. I was pregnant. That was last year, 2021.
Okay.
And during the course of the pregnancy, I was diagnosed of pregnancy-induced hypertension. Okay. And during the childbirth, I had a little complication. By God's will, the child survived. And I was told that on my next pregnancy, they are supposed to put me on medication because of the hypertension. And I got pregnant again just this year. I went to the hospital. You have documented it. Even you wrote my last, I think they took your history. And she wrote this pregnancy-induced hypertension, meaning that I was supposed to be on medication. One day I went to work and I was almost 6 months, and then for a few days, I saw that my head was itching, so I said, let me rush the hospital and go check everything. When I went, I said it was preeclampsia.
Okay.
So she said I should go and see the PA. If it has that day. And when I went, the PA checked my paper, I was like, maybe I have. Because the previous day I was written on the book, it should put the woman on medication. Now, because I was in the distance, so they just like they said they are going to refer me. So that they said they refer me to take teaching hospital. Which first thing was not on my side, I lost the pregnancy. So I want to ask lawyer, with that, can I still the midwife? Because my husband he wasn't happy. He said he documented the thing, so he was supposed to look and check it. Up to now, my husband has been told that the midwife, he has to do something about the back has happened, so he should let it go. Yes, he's still insisting that he wants to get time. And when I asked them why they knew I had such a condition, yet they didn't have to eat faster. So this issue came.
Okay. The line is quite strange. But if I understood what she said, if I understood what she said, she's saying that her first pregnancy she had high blood pressure.
Yes.
And then
later something about eclampsia.
Yeah, eclampsia eclampsia deals also with high blood pressure during pregnancy. And then the last bit of it, because I want to see whether there was injury resulting from wrong medication and whether the degree of injury, whether death or permanent. I didn't get the last part.
Yes.
But assuming without saying that, what she said was that she had...
I think they did not really factor in the hypertension thing with the next pregnancy or something of the
sort. So did it affect her pregnancy?
It seems so, because she mentioned that her husband was also involved and was a little angry about it. Okay,
let's keep the facts as probably as I understood it. So if it is a situation, as I assume, that she had high blood pressure as a result of it, and her history was not factored into because as she's going with the same health institution, her history plays a role in respect of how her subsequent pregnancy would go. And they say every pregnancy has its own devil. But medical traces is very important. Medical history is very important, which informs the hospital of whichever patient they are attending to. So in a situation where there is a misdiagnosis, so she presents herself and they failed to diagnose her of what she's really going through as against, so what she's really going through. And if I also heard her, she mentioned something about medication.
Yeah.
So if, and you see, wrong diagnosis follows with wrong prescriptions.
Yeah.
They are correlative. So definitely what we look at is whether harm flowed from it. So if harm flowed from it, which results in fatality or no matter the injury, then she could actually start thinking of medical. But it's a technical word that we just don't like. I am always cautious when someone comes to my office for medical negligence. We take about 3 months to do legal investigation before we mount an action. It just doesn't like to say that. So there must be some investigations. We need to get her medical records, not report. I'm always fighting with doctors on that. It is not the report that the lawyer needs. The lawyer needs the records because the report is a deduction of someone's of an opinion. Okay, we have another caller on the line. Hello, you're welcome to Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Thank you for calling. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Please, I'm still the same Monica.
Oh, okay. Yes, please speak up a bit so we can hear you.
I'm really not hearing her.
Okay. The lawyer was saying, was there a fatality? Yes, I know the pregnancy.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, because I know because of I think they said it's because of the pressure. But the reason is because the media said she recorded on my book that I'm already like a known hypertension patient. She was supposed to say that they give me on medication to sustain the pregnancy, but she didn't check that side. That's what caused the preeclampsia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you have a claim. You have a claim to make. You have a claim to make. And if this is over 3 years, then your claim.
No, it's just this year. It's just this June.
This year.
Oh, okay. Then you have a claim, and such claims, suit filing would go for about 5 million in terms of compensation. Yes, I mostly tell people that it is better to bless the memory of your lost one than to allow it go. And the thing is that as you put the claim in, it strengthens the health system. Yes, it strengthens the health system. But if you do loko tomorrow it will happen to you or it will happen to another relative of yours. The system needs to grow. That is how the Western system strengthens their health sector. The more suits come, the more the hospital management becomes very, very pragmatic. Because if, as she's saying, assuming without meeting that what she's saying is what is on the record, it will speak for itself. And we will need an expert opinion to also establish all that had been said or testify in court to corroborate the things she's saying. Okay. So the first place that we always go is the medical records. And let me caution to say that hospitals, the medical record is not yours. It is for the patient. There are situations where hospitals decide that they will not give the medical records out to patients. It is a human rights matter. Look at the Lister case. Go and read it. I always fight with medical directors. Go and read the Lister case at the High Court. And you would see that the court concluded against Lister Hospital that it is always a human rights matter, and it is never the bona fide property of the hospital. Unless another person is asking for it, then you have every right to protect it because you are in a fiduciary relationship to protect confidential information. But if the person, herself or himself, if aside mother, child, himself is asking for it, you have no business to deny that person his or her medical records. And he says that I'll give you opinion, which will be report. The lawyer needs the medical records, not opinion.
Okay, thank you very, very much. So I also ask, what role does the Medical and Dental Council play in any other regulatory body play with the infant mortality issue and negligence?
So the doctors have theirs and the nurses too, they have theirs. Now, these disciplinary bodies also come in to help the process.
Okay.
So they have all the professionals there to deal with the matter, whether or not indeed the doctor was negligent, the hospital, same. Now, when you get a decision from this particular quasi-judicial bodies, you go to the High Court to enforce it.
Okay, okay. We have another caller on the line. Hello, you're welcome to Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Thank you for calling. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yeah, I'm calling from Germany.
Okay, your question,
please. Please, I want to contribute to what you are discussing.
Okay.
Good, because my wife went to a hospital. Can I mention the name of the hospital?
No, please.
Yeah, my wife went to, she went, I believe, at a hospital. And she said she had a crucial medical care. Fine. And now, for a medical record, they don't want to do this well. It's almost a year.
Like I said, medical records. You need to get a lawyer to write on your behalf.
I've gone there with my wife several times. You don't give a medical record now.
You need to get a lawyer to write to the hospital and demand the medical records, not the reports. The records, the raw data. Yes, you need the raw data. That is what the lawyer will use to do cross-examination. That is what the expert's opinion, the other doctor or other experts will also look at to see whether they did the right thing, not the report. Mostly when they are involved in negligence, they want to give you a report and summarize and massage. No. I always tell some of my colleagues, you need to get a lawyer. You need to get a lawyer of choice to demand that for you. If the lawyer writes and gives them a time limit, 7 working days or 14 working days upon reproduction, failure to do that, the lawyer must take action. And I've already cited the case of the Lister Hospital. If you Google the Lister Hospital, you will see the case there. You read it and you realize that you have a claim. We need to make Ghana work. We really need to make Ghana work. Yes, because you never know, you might be a victim.
Yeah.
You might be a victim. Look at what happened to the woman who was abandoned, and the report came out not long ago. Yes, because you don't know where you might fall sick, and they'll rush you to some hospital, and if the system is not working, you might be a victim. So we cannot do, when it comes to health, we cannot do Fama Nyami, we cannot do Enyeshi, we cannot do Efe Noko, Obagbo.
Thank you very much. Thank you for calling.
You're always welcome, my brother.
So, yes, as we are talking about infant mortality, what are the likely challenges that bereaved parents or, parents whose babies have just died, what are the likely challenges they are going to face when they try to follow any legal procedures to take action against the hospital for negligence?
Oh, the first challenge is finance.
Okay.
Finance, because number one, the compensation regime that the lawyer would ask for, not even his legal fees, going to mount in court will be high. It will be in the millions. So definitely the cost of the rate will also go up. That's number one. And then the other aspect is what I have been addressing with the medical records. Some of the hospitals, they are so diligent and they'll give it to you. Yes. And I liked it like that. When they help all of us. Now, lawyer begins to think, they don't want to give it to me. I must now think of mounting an action to go and get it. You go to court and then orders will be made before you come and start your real action. So that would elongate it. But when they give it to you, then everything says it. And then the other aspect deals with the legal fees. And when it comes to litigation, we have two types of costs under the Ghana Bar Association Scale of Fees 2022. We have incidental costs, which deals with the prosecution of your case. So filing of rates, affidavits, and other documents to the court. And then the other part is the legal fees. So it depends on the arrangement that you enter into with the law firm. Some law firms will tell you that, okay, after examining your case, you have a good case. We would want to pre-finance the incidental cost for you, and then you don't pay legal fees. So that at the end of the day, so it is more like a success matter. If I win for you, you don't need to. If I win for you, then you pay me my incidental, and then I get my legal fees. Others would say pay upfront. So it depends on the mix. So these are some of the challenges.
Okay. We have another caller on the line. Oh, I think we've lost the caller, have we? Producer?
I'm sorry.
Have we lost the caller? Oh, okay. So, again, we have a question here from Ernesta Santi. And, okay. Now, this question is that what role do expert witnesses play in medical negligence causes? I think you answered this question in the last episode, but...
Yes, they play a very significant role. Now, this is the catch. Where debris is left in the body, so maybe scissors or surgical knives or anything is left in the body, that one, you don't need an expert opinion or expert witness to come and testify. Now, experts testify in accordance with the Evidence Act.
Okay.
They further strengthen your case. Now, the court can decide, suo motu, to have an expert assist the court, or a party litigating can decide to have an expert assist it to establish his or her claim, or if it's a company, its claim. Yeah.
So I think our caller is back. Okay. Hello, you're welcome to the Cocoa Digest Morning Show. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Hello, please. My name is.
Your name
I'm calling from Dantoma.
Okay.
Mercy. I'm calling from Dantoma.
Okay, your question, please.
Please, I was supposed to give birth.
Pardon?
On 26th July. Okay. And I went to a private hospital. They told me I was just 9 months and I shouldn't come unless I see blood on my WhatsApp break.
I'm not getting her.
She said she was 9 months. She went to a private hospital and they told her not to come until her water breaks, right?
Okay.
Or I see a clot of blood.
A clot of blood.
So I was in the house, I think, 9 months, 2 weeks.
Okay.
But I went to the hospital. But the pain was too much.
Okay.
So when I got there, they told me 5 days. I was already tired. So when they told me to push, I told them I could.
Okay.
So I need years.
Okay.
And they said they can offer the child test. So they use something called vacuum suction.
Okay.
To suck with the head out.
Vacuum extractor.
Yes.
It has
so he enough oxygen and he didn't cry.
Oh.
That's
so
it.
that moment we got something called
hypoxia, or it caused brain damage.
So I have a baby with a seizure 2 years.
Oh.
And the medication and the MRI we are doing is too much. It's not something I can do about it.
Yes. So if you listen to me from the beginning, you hear that I mentioned forceps. That it comes under physical trauma. When I listed the causes, it comes under physical trauma. And the two major things, the forceps and then the vacuum extractor. So they put it on the head, they try to. And that one causes brain damage. You see, if the person is not skilled, it will cause brain damage. And it can cause epilepsy and other matters. So nervous break. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So nervous breakdown. Yes. I know claims like that. I know claims like that. So what you need to do is find a law firm of choice, because you see, if you do Pharma Nyame, the condition that you have, it is a lifetime condition. Yeah, it is a lifetime condition, and experts will tell you that it is going to live with the child because it's brain and neurological problem. So the child would have walking disabilities, the child will have speech impairments, and it depends on which part of the brain is affected. Now, a law firm, so a law firm of your choice would go into arrangements with you, and the compensation that you get, the court will look at the lifetime of the child, and that is how come you get millions of Ghana cedis, because the hospital has caused irreparable damage to your child, which is lifetime. But if you sit home and you depend on family and friends, because definitely if the bills are high, you run short. And you have to call a friend or two, or even depend on the church. But for how long? If you go to the court will adequately compensate you for the lifetime of the child. So Pharma Nyame will not help you. FA Loco will not help you. So look out for a firm, a law firm or a lawyer that will assist with your problem and give you the best of agreement, and then you proceed.
But with we need to also make sure that, like you said, there's a time frame.
When was it?
So if it's not beyond 3 years, then she should take legal action.
Yes.
So please, if it's not been more than 3 years, please take.
You are an assistant.
Please take legal action. I've also been a victim, my brother. So. We did Pharma Nyame, we're living with it. So please take legal action if it's younger than 3, if your child is younger than 3 years or the incident is younger than 3 years, and get some compensation for yourself and your child. Thank you so much for your call. Thank you for your question as well. So all too soon, our time is up, and would like to take your closing remarks to our viewers. I think we need to make it a series because there's so much to cover with this.
You see, it's matters that directly affects everybody. Medical negligence, whether the other streams of medical negligence or even wrongful infant mortality, it directs the lives of people. It affects the lives of people. So my closing remarks is very simple. No Pharma Nyame. Don't sit idle when you are suffering. See, just go onto the internet. Now, www is everywhere. Just go onto the internet and type medical negligence lawyers. Either way, which of the, put sentence in the search engines. You would contact a number of lawyers in Ghana. Averagely in Ghana, there are about 3,000 active lawyers. You would definitely come across somebody who would be willing to listen to you, who would be willing to fall or have an arrangement with you. and make sure that the person is an expert in medical negligence. It is one of his or her specialties, because every lawyer has his specialty. Some like criminal law, some like land law, others. So make sure, just go and keep fighting for your child. Let's have a strong family unit built on good health. And to my health professionals, let's strive to build a strong, robust health system on the standard of medical opinion. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. And I would like to do small adverts for our lawyer here. If you don't feel like going to do all that, just find his name on our stream and try to contact him. If you like, call us. You pay small no kufio, and I'll give you the number. Thank you so much for...
Lawyers, you don't advertise, so...
So I'm doing it. So thank you so much for joining us here. We are so grateful. I'm sure we'll have you back again, because this is a very, very pressing issue here in Ghana. And a big thank you to you, our viewers. Without you, this would not have been a success. A big thank you to our production team, our management, our driver, everybody that's contributed and made a sacrifice to make this show a success. A big thank you to our sponsors, a big thank you to everybody here, and we hope to see you next week bright and early. And we are still in October, so this is to remind you that we'll be doing a breast cancer awareness, we'll be doing sickle cell awareness, and of course cybersecurity awareness. So don't forget to wear something pink today, get your breast examined, teach somebody about breast cancer awareness, get people to also get checked as well. This is all we have for you today. We'll see you again on Tuesday morning. Have a blessed weekend ahead.
Clog TV. Beyond the Policy.